What we into this week.
Welcome to What We Into.
What?
We're back.
We are biz to the Isaac.
All right. So tell me, this was kind of a quiet week for me. What were you into this week?
Oh,
my
dude? It was
my boob?
actually...
I called you my boob.
My boob?
That's my boob.
It works. It works. Your boob? That doesn't work.
My boob.
I was into a really kind of... It was kind of a little bit all over the place. Because
Yeah.
I was reading comics, I was watching content, and I was trying to find a video. This actually brings me to a very sad moment. I want to have a moment of silence for my local GameStop.
Oh, you told me.
Yeah, my local GameStop is no more. Which I feel like we didn't bring this up in news, but I feel like GameStop is going the way of the dodo. Much not unlike your Blockbuster videos or that ilk. They like my local GameStop closed, and I don't know where my newest one is because I went to pick up a video game this week and I couldn't.
Is that really because so many people are buying video games
Digitally?
online?
Yes.
Yeah, digitally.
I think that's 125% the cause of why the physical stores are now. Because I mean, I feel like when GameStop first opened, they used to just sell video games, and then there was a bastion of time when they started selling everything like backpacks and shirts and like all like.
Yeah,
it was. They started just accessorizing. It used to just be the system, the game, the controllers, maybe.
Yeah,
and now it was like shirts and busts and games and like
all types of shit, lightsabers and like
just so to keep the lights on. It felt like, and that's I think Digital Downloads kind of did them in.
Barnes and Nobles has been kind of shifting to the same thing.
What do you mean?
Well, if you go to like the second floor of Barnes and Nobles over on Court, it's just like almost like 50% just toys. You know, there's books up there, but there's a huge section of like toys and like you know those little Pop Funko things. Or like there's 5,000 of those.
Well, see, this is interesting because Barnes and Nobles is sort of like the only surviving competitor from the. Remember, it was Borders,
right,
and Barnes and Nobles,
right.
And then somehow along the way, like
Borders
shuttered down, and Barnes and Nobles was like, yeah, we got the book wars, we got this now,
we got toys.
And now I think we're moving into this vein of like there won't be a Barnes and Nobles in 10 years.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess not. Not really. It's a huge store. There's a lot of square footage in that place just for women to take their babies in strollers. Or
how many motherfuckers are buying books
dads
out of a Barnes and Nobles enough to keep a corporation like that?
Yeah.
In stores all over the world?
I'll tell you what's really busy, though, is the comic book kind of graphic novel section.
For sure.
But nobody buys anything. They go in there and they read them and they just lay down.
They're like, I found this online.
Like walking through the graphic novel section of Barnes & Nobles, you gotta like step over people. Excuse me, sorry.
They're just sitting in the Barnes & Nobles and reading the book.
Do you mind? You're right in front of the saga. I need to get to my graphic novel.
Let's get it.
Yeah, so yeah, they could be shuttering. I don't like the idea that we can only... But I guess you can also buy games through Amazon. You can buy games through...
Everywhere.
So it's not just that people are only buying digital games. They're buying their actual physical copies through the internet. Yeah, elsewhere.
Yep.
But they should be really embracing the return and the use process, and they don't.
Yes, they don't.
They kind of like... They put that on like the back burner.
Well, honestly, for a guy like me who used to turn over games so frequently because I played so many different titles, it's different. Like, I don't return the games that I... Like, I'll go to the GameStop, I'll buy a game, right? But it'll be like a one-person sort of thing, and it'll end up either being on my shelf,
right,
or it's something that I know that I'll play through quick enough that I can turn it over and then get something to leverage it. But, like, that's a different step down from where I used to be, where I would just be turning over games, like Madden or, like, racing or something.
I feel like they used to give you better prices for things too. Because now, like, I've taken some games back or thought about taking games back, and like they're just going to give me $1 for it.
Not even. Like, some of them are like cents. Like,
yeah. And so I'm like, I might as well just keep this, throw it in a box, and 15 years from now, pull out my PS3 and be like, look at all these games I got with it. Yeah.
Or like gift them to.
Right. Or my kids will want to play them or want to see what that's like.
Yeah.
We still play the old Nintendo that I have.
Yeah.
You know, I still got that. I wish I had the Genesis.
I'm talking a lot of shit about. I have an Atari 1600 at the house, fully stocked with games.
Yeah.
Like, I just haven't had the impetus or, like, the wherewithal to be like, let me find an adapter to plug this into my HD television.
Have you looked up your Atari to see like what?
Wait, you mean like if it's worth anything?
Yeah.
No, like why would it be? I mean, it's out of the box. It's covered in years of skin cells.
You can clean that.
Also true, but like
Atari 1600.
There can't be like a going like market for that shit.
They're going for about $35.
Yeah.
On eBay, but each of the games that you have with it is going for about $30 as well.
Wait, $30 per game?
Yeah.
I have about like 20 games.
Yeah. So you got to add all that. These, let's see, Atari 1600 bundle. Let's see what the bundle is like. Okay, this one's a 16. It's $180. 11 controller top games. Yeah, okay. So it's like basically Atari 1600.
Yeah, I have about that many games actually.
Yeah. So you could sell you probably get $200 for this.
Yeah, $200. Nah, I'll keep it. I'll keep it on the shelf.
You gotta put it in a box too. You gotta write somebody's address on it. You gotta take pictures and post it to eBay.
I'm not built like that, bro.
It's perfectly good over in the corner of your room.
Oh,
with a cat sleeping on top of it.
It's literally in a closet, like on one of the top shelves, like with like I think like sheets and shit on top of it. So
yeah, GameStop RIP. Sorry guys.
Buy the Nintendo GameCube for only $149.95 and receive The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. Go ahead, take it. Shh. And a playable bonus disc, free.
What else you get?
But I want to start with Picard this week.
Yeah, let's start with Picard. That's gonna be our main thing, I guess.
It was the biggest thing that dropped in the time.
All that emptiness, all that silence. I'd forgotten how much I loved it.
You really want to go back out into the cold?
I may never pass this way again.
Blue skies smiling at me. Nothing but blue skies do I see.
One is never safe from the past. I want you to reinstate me for one mission. The past is written, but the future is left for us to write. Engage.
Blue skies smiling at me.
I don't want the game to end.
I watched the episode and absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
There was only 1 or 2 moments where I was like, and it was only the action sequences where they had like 70-some-odd-year-old.
Oh, right.
Patrick Stewart running.
Okay.
And getting like blown back by like explosive forces. I'm like, that would kill that old man.
I'm gonna put
old man would have died.
Yeah, I'm gonna put my 5-star question here right at the very beginning.
All right.
Is Patrick Stewart acting old? I know he is old.
No, he's old as fuck.
But is he acting older than he actually is?
I think he is.
Yeah.
I think he actually is. I think that man at his age is super spry and very like aware. Like we live in an age where motherfuckers know about that like health, and he's been rich and white a long time. Yes. And I don't know if you know, rich white motherfuckers don't die real quickly unless they're Jeffrey Epstein.
Right.
And then that's murder. Hey, thanks for coming on 9:30 different than 10.
That was a good one, actually.
Thank you, man. I didn't plan it, but
it was very good.
Off the cuff.
Please explain to the audience what you're munching on here, because I'm sure they want to know.
I don't even. It's whatever your daughter's premium Italian sausages. They're like little pepperoni, but they're like the size of like spaghetti.
You like a little sausage in your mouth,
Your Honor. Permission to treat the witness as hostile.
Yes.
Permission to choke the witness to sleep,
accept.
Your Honor. Well, Your Honor.
What is the plot to Picard? Where are we at?
Basically, I'm not entirely sure how many years passed.
Some years passed.
Some years passed.
Not that didn't. By the look of Picard, not that many.
Not that many.
I mean,
basically, at this point in the Federation, Picard is retired from the Federation in sort of like a protest for this thing that they do that you find out later in the episode that he didn't jive with as like it was like a personal affront to who Picard was. And so when you meet him in this first episode, he's a retired man, I guess almost a decade and change now, and he lives in France on his vineyard. and he's kind of doing this thing. But he has these caretakers, these people who like take care of the vineyard, who are obviously Romulan.
Right.
And then over the course of the episode, you kind of find out that he resigned from the Federation because of this thing that the Federation did that was kind of untoward towards the Romulans. But you come to find out that it was during the time that the Federation was at war with the Romulans.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of plays to this thing of like, who is right in the greater sense of like doing what the Federation had established themselves to be, like this, united, disparate planet type thing where we're gonna do right by everybody in the place. All that to say, long story short, you come to find out that the episode starts with Picard having this dream about Lieutenant Commander Data, who we all know from the Next Generation.
What's strange is that like Data looks a little thicker, but like I guess I just don't remember Data back in the day.
You're not the only person who said that shit. I was like, well, I mean,
I know.
I think we were.
It's probably
somebody
me.
was like, I think it was you. You were
that.
like, well, I didn't know androids could get fatter, and I was
He's
like,
been eating a lot. No, you know what? It's fine. I'm glad they don't try to do some weird de-aging thing. That they just put some makeup on Brooks Spiner.
All I said, how it kind of made sense to me was that Data, being the student of like human change and human evolution, it would make sense to me that an android so like obsessed with like being as human as he could be,
good point,
would go about
getting
making
fat.
Himself
Fat.
Look the way that humans look as they age. That was the easiest way for me to be like, oh, that makes sense.
We get
because
fat.
he didn't even look that chinny. I mean, he was chinny.
It was chinny.
He was chinny. But
that's all I need, though. That's the only explanation I need.
And that's immediately where my brain went. I was like, oh, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
An android obsessed with humanity would then, as he's seeing his peers grow old and become more
fat,
that he would then in turn do the same thing.
Yeah.
So
Picard didn't get fat. Picard did not get fat.
Well, he got thin.
He got thinner. That's really the only two avenues. You either get thinner or you get fatter.
Yeah. And I think that just plays to your level of copulence and your level of activity.
Yeah. My wife did not like the reporter in this. She's like, that's gotcha reporting.
Yeah, it was, and you saw it coming a mile away.
Yeah,
you saw it coming a mile away. So, like for me, I was like, this setup is a little contrived, but I get it. Like, oh, they promised not to give you. It's gonna be a softball kind of thing, and like we knew that it was gonna go there.
Right.
So that didn't so much. None of that bothered me. The like I said, the only part that took me out were the parts where like a 7, like clearly a fragile or like an acting fragile, Patrick Stewart.
He's winded going up the stairs.
Now running.
Yeah.
And like getting blown by like explosive forces.
He got thrown back like 20 feet.
And you're like, that's clearly not him right there. Because there's a scene where he's running with the with Data's daughter or whatever, and he's like really spry, and you're like, clearly not showing his face. You're like, come on, man.
Yeah.
You guys aren't even trying. And it's the only time that it took me out of it. Everything else I could explain away or like. Right. I could, suspend the disbelief to get to where like the story was the most important thing. But Justin knows you got to get a better stunt double, man. Yeah. You got to get a better stunt double.
Well, I guess there's no old men stunt doubles.
No.
They retire at a certain age.
Running stairs and getting hit by like explosive force.
Yeah.
Like if his age old Picard had gotten hit by the explosive force of a concussive explosion, he'd die.
Yeah,
he's dead.
But they do have advanced medical tech.
True, but he was by himself.
Yeah.
On this planet, running around and getting. He was standing at the epicenter of an explosion and got blown 20 feet into another object.
Yeah.
He's not a spry young dude. He's 80. There is internal bleeding. There are ribs breaking. Hip at least. He is at least being like, can't walk.
That hip's never going to be the same.
Can't walk. Somebody's going to have to do something about that.
Yep, that's done. Did you like the reveal that Daj had a twin, or that they killed her that moment?
I actually, the moment where she dies in the episode was one of the, oh my god, what the fuck moment.
Right. I guess where are we going now?
Right.
Yeah.
And I felt like they were. I liked that they like the impetus was like, I'm gonna find out who killed her.
You're right.
I think the impetus for me would have been greater if they just made it a detective story. And here's Picard trying to figure out how Data, 1, has a daughter.
Right.
2, who is who she is. 3.
Right.
Like, all those questions were enough for me to send Picard on a Picardian Star Trek episode that could have lasted, however long this series is.
Forever.
I think I think
better go on forever.
I think this sort of like, but she has a twin.
Right.
Is very.
But he doesn't know that yet. So technically, he's still in that
Right.
good version of the story that you want.
Right.
Whereas we just know that there's a star, which is a weird reveal.
Yeah.
But I guess to me, that's a better reveal there than, let's say,
Later down
6
in the
episodes
series. Yes.
later.
Yes.
We're like, oh, there's a twin. You're like, oh, come on,
Right.
bullshit.
Right.
At least now when that happens, we're like, yeah, we know that because he told
Right.
us in the first episode.
Well, they got a lot to unpack. They got to have a lot to unpack.
Did you like Dr. Agnes Girardi at the Daystrom Institute and the throwback to kind of Bruce Maddox?
Yes, I
from
did.
that. What was
Yeah,
the Measure of a Man? That was that old episode.
The mention
with
of
TNG.
the Daystrom Institute was enough to be like, I know that term.
Yeah.
That's old Star Wars right
Yeah.
there. That's old school.
Second season. Yeah, second season, Next Generation. That was a throwback too.
So they do a lot of really good things. I mean, for an initial jumping off of a property that we've been waiting. And did you see the week that it aired? Picard was on Patrick Stewart was on The
Picard.
View.
You just said you can Picard him.
Yeah, I mean, I might as well. He went on The View and formally asked Whoopi Goldberg to be on the second season.
Oh no shit!
You didn't see this?
That's so dope. No, I didn't.
he-
I think
so-
I heard a little rumble of that, but I didn't realize that that's what that was.
He
Yeah.
had- so like in like the promotional shit of the show, he went on The View and was sitting down with the women on The View, and for me, he was like, "So Whoopi, I have a formal announcement for you and me and some of the."
Will you
the
just do
show-
this voice for the rest of the podcast
and me
forever?
and some of the showrunners, we wanted to formally ask you to be a part of the second season. And that
Yeah.
great British fucking up that shit that we like known to love him. And you could see the two of them like viscerally, like it almost brought Whoopi to tears.
Aw.
And she sort of starts to recount like her time on Star Trek. Guinan
Yeah.
is
Guinan.
one of the
Yeah.
dopest characters that
Yes.
they ever came up with in the creation of Star Trek
Yeah.
lore. I don't give a fuck. I'll fight you. Dope. And she was, with
Look, Guinan might as well be alive right now as Whoopi Goldberg, and then she just lives forever and becomes Guinan on the Next Generation. It's actually the same person.
It's the same person.
Same person.
Same. I mean, I like your writing better. That's a better right.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Did you like the Captain Picard Day signed by all the kids? Remember that episode? Where for
Oh,
some
yeah,
reason
yeah,
I
yeah.
can't remember what it is. Maybe
He doesn't like it. He was like,
I don't know, not Captain Picard, but he gets trapped with those kids. That's a really moving episode.
the Next Generation did so much to expand the universe and sort of like the lore of Star Trek that
Yeah.
like this show is going to be received really well no matter what happens in it.
But the only difference, I mean, the Next Generation is very pro-Federation.
Yes.
It's very like, we're all about the Federation. Federation does no
Right.
wrong. Everything's
Well,
perfect.
We're explorers and we boldly go where no man has gone
Right.
before. And
Versus what you know very well, Deep Space Nine. It's not that same
war.
view.
It's war.
Benjamin Sisko has a different outlook of what the Federation is.
Oh, he
that-
almost
and
quits.
And this show is kind of like going in that direction. Because Picard is very much like, this is not the
Disillusioned.
Federation
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
It's no longer the Federation.
The very first episode of Deep Space Nine, you see Benjamin Sisko almost like the title character of
Yeah.
that property. He damn near leaves the Federation because his wife gets murdered by Locutus, who is
Oh, no.
Picard as a Borg.
He pretty much whips his dick out and says, fuck you,
Fuck
Picard.
you. Yeah, he's basically like
Maybe
yeah.
without the dick.
No, I mean without.
but-
I mean, it
but
was.
yeah.
It was the.
It's implied.
Yeah, definitely a pipe.
What are you going to do? Here's my dick.
He's like fuck
you.
And then
Which
by
is
the
crazy
end of the,
that next
which is-
that they basically
that's how
look
they
at like
started it off.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Well, it was sort of a really great passing of the baton because having the most prominent captain in that property be featured in the very first episode, almost handing the baton to Benjamin Sisko, being like, "I want you to be this guy," and he's like, "Fuck you! You killed my wife."
Right.
And then cut to, "Oh, you know what? I will take this post," and then seeing all the things that kind of traverse from that, and here we are now. Using that very same, almost like the baton is being handed back now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they didn't do that for Voyager.
No.
They didn't. There was no like.
Voyager was because Deep Space Nine starts to get into like a serial storytelling
Yes.
of like this
In a
episode connects to
fixed
this
place.
episode's
Right,
and that was actually kind of like to its detriment
You
at
think
the
so?
time. Well, at the time because not to the storytelling detriment, but the show's detriment because really this is what I'd read about it. People would come into that show and it was on syndication. But when it was first airing, if you missed those episodes, just like any you were lost. So people stopped tuning into it for those reasons.
Yeah.
Versus Next Generation, you could come in and pop in
or
the
even
episode.
Voyager was very much sort of
went
like
back to that. Yeah.
We're on a ship, and each episode kind of had this varying degree of like what we're going to deal with. They weren't interconnected the way that Deep Space Nine was, like linear for a lot of it.
So now with Discovery and Picard, now we're in this sort of like this serial storytelling that was started with Deep Space Nine.
Right.
Why do you like this show better than Star Trek Discovery?
I think for a lot of reasons. I think for the initial reason is that the technology isn't egregious to me.
Right.
At this point. Like, they actually make efforts to make the technology seem more advanced than what we've previously seen.
Right.
Like, there's she's having that conversation with her mom or whatever, and it's like one of these kind of things.
Right.
And granted, it's filler or whatever, but
Minority Report style.
Right.
But
we haven't seen it like that. This kind of technology surge in any of the previous iterations. Other than fucking Discovery, which I was like, wait, what?
What? Yeah. Okay.
They got a ship that can jump through time?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. We'll do that.
All right. Sure.
I'm excited for the new season.
Are you?
Yeah, because they're finally in an unknown place 700 years in the future.
You're right.
I can put
There's
that
potential.
I agree with you. I don't like that as well. The advanced technology that does not seem in place with any of the other Star Wars. But I can kind of set that aside and just be like, this is a new Star Wars show. But now that we're 7 years in the future, I can kind of even more be like, you know what, it's fine.
In the way that I could suspend disbelief with Picard being able to sort of just like, give a little nudge to what I'm seeing to be like, make it make sense for my brain.
Right.
There was no point in Discovery where that I could do that and it makes sense for me. I was just like, this doesn't make sense based on the timeline, based on like the previous iterations of this. It just doesn't make sense. I as much as I like the acting and much as I like this world building, I'm not on board because I don't buy any of it. So anyway,
did you cry like I did?
What, in Picard?
Yeah.
Why were you crying?
Just Patrick Stewart.
I'm just not that attached. He's a very old guy.
You're right. You're right.
It's not that deep.
He's gonna go one day.
It's not that deep. I'd cry more over Angela Lansbury than I would over Patrick Stewart.
Do you think we're gonna get the current the Enterprise? We got to get the Enterprise at some point, right?
You know what? I feel like it's inevitable that we will see a version of the Enterprise. My question is, who will be the captain?
Who was the captain after Picard left? Not Riker. We're gonna get Riker hopefully in the next episode or two.
I mean, Riker probably wasn't the captain of the Enterprise.
No, he went on.
He definitely went on to be the captain of other ships.
Something else, like the Titan or something like that. I can't remember.
Some weird name for something. Anyway, but no, I feel like it has a lot of potential. I haven't tuned into the second episode yet, but I'm with this. I'm with this IP to its fruition.
Yeah. Sweet.
It's good. October Faction was something I jumped into this
Talk
week.
to me about that, because it's on my list. I'm going to watch it. I just kind of ran out of time this week.
Well, Netflix kind of threw it in my face.
This is on Netflix, right?
It's a Netflix property. Netflix threw it at me, and I initially didn't want to watch it because it seemed a little cheap. Mm-hmm. It seemed like they had made strides to not make it look cheap, but it does. It's rough. Basically, my critique is it's rough around the edges, but at its core, it's very good storytelling.
Okay.
Agent Dolores Alex.
Being a parent is hard. Except in our case, of course.
You don't have to do this, you know.
Can't let you go.
Yes, you can.
Nice conversation.
All signs point to a highly active October. I need my top agents.
Welcome to Presidio.
Presidio's sole aim isn't killing monsters. It's understanding them. How are Viv and Jeff handling the transition?
Viv and I are being cruelly ripped from our lives and dragged into Pleasantville.
17-year-old twins. Scarier than anything I've ever faced in the field.
Wow. Parents of the Year.
And the other thing that that made me tune in to this instead, because it was between this and Sabrina this week. I had the option to watch either all the new episodes of the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina or October Faction.
And you were caught up on Sabrina, so you enjoy that show.
I was caught up on Sabrina, and I really wanted it to be good, or at least better than it had been previous to where it is, because it basically is kind of Nacho's viewership. It's,
right.
It's Dorito viewership. But this season was just so bad. It was like design-wise, design-wise, they do a lot of things that I really enjoy. Like they'll build like this grandiose set that's supposed to represent the throne room in hell,
right?
And it looks great.
It actually looked like I only know the last episode. Because I came home from work and my wife was watching it, and she totally lied to me. Because it's like 10 o'clock at night, you know what I mean, or 10:30 at night.
And she's watching Sabrina.
And she's like, "No, this is almost over. I'm gonna go to bed."
Lies.
And so I sit down, and I'm like, having a snack, and I realize like 45 minutes go by, and I'm like, "This just started. You just started. I just watched this whole." And I was like, "Is this the season finale?" And she's like, "Yeah, it is."
Oh, what, the finale? So you guys watched the end of the last season and into this one? Is that what we were on to?
No, you
guys finished?
She finished.
You guys finished the season?
Technically, I finished it too, but I haven't seen any other episode.
Okay.
But I'm not that into that show anyways.
It's not very good.
But the throne room in hell looked like a Klingon like kind of worship.
Right.
Throne.
Like they do like the design work, that like the set dressing, all that stuff, like costumes, some of it it's really elaborate and really nice, but like there's nothing to back. It's all trash.
Yeah.
It's such bad storytelling. Like you're like, it's like the improbability and laughableness of some of these situations. And granted, we're talking about a girl who's a teenage witch who goes to hell and all that. But this is our wheelhouse. But like, there's just so many moments.
I should be into it, but I'm not.
Not at all. There's so many moments. I was like, that's laughable.
Yeah. However, I'm into the premise that this end of this season sets up for the next one.
Really? So we're getting another season.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, assuming it does well enough.
Okay, I don't know, man.
Did you get to the end of it?
No, I literally only went 2 episodes. I went 2 episodes.
Oh, are you gonna finish it? I'm gonna spoil it. I'm gonna spoil it.
No, well, I mean, spoil it then.
Well, basically, at one point, she finds herself having traveled through time.
Oh God!
And one version of herself says, "Okay, you go rule hell. I'm gonna not do that, and I'm gonna stay here
and be
on
with the
Earth,
humans
right?
and whatever." Yeah.
And so you see her become like the queen of the dance. You should just watch the last episode because it's actually kind of interesting.
Okay.
And she becomes like the ruler of hell. While the other version stays who she is. But there's this weird suggestion. I'm not sure why. Maybe it just popped up in my head because hadn't seen the rest of it. That the next season they're actually going to end up maybe fighting each other. So Sabrina versus Sabrina.
Okay.
Which is kind of cool.
I guess. I got off the train on this really early because I started October Faction and I watched that to fruition, and I feel like while October Faction isn't as well, like I said, it's rough around the edges. It isn't as well produced. Like they don't have the same kind of a budget. Mm-hmm. The story was intriguing enough, and the initial. The two main characters in it are an interracial couple.
Okay.
And then subsequently their offspring from this, as you think they're offspring from this interracial marriage that they have. As you come to find out, it's not. Anyway, this was one of the ones that I chose this over Sabrina, and I'm glad I did, because there was one particular episode in this series that like I found myself like being like, it would be like if you and I went to Court Street with a bunch of black people, and I was like, like the church experience of watching like a movie at court.
Yeah,
I had one of these moments like watching an episode, and like came out of nowhere. I was like, a character was speaking to it's a character speaking to another character who is his wife, and she's pregnant with his kid.
Okay,
he's black, she's white,
right. But interracial couple,
but they're also
we're not talking about slave play, right?
No, they're also witches. They're also like, so they're hunted. They're hunted for another reason other than being
right. So they're witches, and they still have to deal with racism,
right? So he's trying to impart this knowledge to his.
I was joking, by the way.
No, this is dead ass. What happens?
Right.
Like, so she's out in the world as a witch, and she's pregnant, whatever. And he's like, "Yo, I just need you to be careful," because she has a friend. She builds this friendship with a human.
Who's a person of color, her or him?
He is.
He's the person of color, right?
Yeah,
so she's the white lady.
She's the white lady, and he's basically schooling her to the fact that like you can't be so flippant with just like, randomly, befriending human beings. Because even though like you can get away with that because look at your ass, they see you as a pretty white woman. Even if I wasn't a witch, I can't just roll around in, the real world.
Yeah.
Like,
I can't just walk into Target without wearing clothes and not be arrested.
He basically says something to the fact of like, I've had family members hung from trees not because they were witches.
Ooh.
And he's basically trying to like warn her off of like the human world and like being enamored with it. To basically she doesn't listen, and this really catastrophic thing happens, and she a whole bunch of people pay for it.
Yeah, okay.
But it's one of these moments in the series I was like, huh, could you?
So you liked it?
I did.
Okay.
It was completely unexpected. I didn't expect a character that's based in like fantasy and like witches
this must
to
be
say something to the effect that I was like, yes, motherfucker, absolutely. She out here wilding.
Is it Truth and Consequences? Was that the episode 5?
I can't.
I'm just guessing from the title.
I don't know. First, I know it was one of the latter ones in the series.
Right. Okay.
It gave me a moment in the episode where I was like, huh, yes, tell her. It was like one of those.
Cool.
So,
all right. Well, I'll definitely watch this. I'll get into it. You want to talk about The Outsider, HBO show?
Not very much, because
No.
you saw it, right?
Yeah, I saw it. There's not a ton to talk about, but it has piqued my interest. I'm into it.
I am more into. I actually started watching Dark this week.
Okay.
Based on not just because Mom suggested to me a while back. She was like, "This show is."
Netflix suggested to me every time I turn on
all
Netflix.
the time, and I've always been like, "Ugh, whatever."
I'm like, "Oh, subtitles? No."
I feel like Dark is what The Outsider is trying to do, but failing.
Okay, so what's the premise
of which
of Dark?
So it takes place in this German village, and I've only seen the first episode. So what happens is this kid disappears, this kid when you show up in the village, a kid has been missing for 2 weeks.
Okay,
we don't know what's happened to him. We don't know why what's happened to him, but you start to get invested into the lives of these townspeople. Mm-hmm. Then by the middle of the episode, another kid disappears. That's closely related to some of these people that you've been introduced to now. And then at the end of the episode, a body drops.
Okay.
And you think it's the kid that disappears before. It's not.
Okay.
And it's not. We're not even sure it's the kid that has disappeared in the 2 weeks that you've shown up in this town.
Damn, lots of kids.
A lot. So basically, where
are these parents?
They're this. What it's setting up is this detective story with a maybe supernatural bent.
Okay.
But it's probably not supernatural. It's more science.
Okay.
But you're not sure.
Oh, cool. Okay.
You're not sure. And I think it's what The Outsider is trying to do, but with very little. And
Outsider's a little different. The first episode is the detective episode. Second episode.
So you actually seen more than one episode?
Yeah, I'm like 3 episodes.
I tried to start watching the second episode and promptly fell out of like.
I would stick with it a little bit because once they sort of drop the idea that like this may or may not be a supernatural episode and just embrace the fact that this is supernatural, then it gets better. Yeah.
Then so it is a supernatural.
Yeah.
Thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It becomes very clear. I think midway through the second episode and definitely in the third episode, they're on that. I like it. I mean, I like detective stories.
I do too. But based on like these two styles of burgeoning the story, I was more in tune with the foreign language film version than I was the one that I could understand the language. I was like,
I've tried to watch it with Laurel a couple times, and she's always been like, "Nah."
Yeah.
And so I need to just do that on my own.
Yeah, I think this is. I don't think you're going to get Laurel to go along with you on this one. Maybe Dark. I think Dark. You could get her to go along with.
Oh, she's watching Outsider with me. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like I feel like.
But you think she'd like Dark more?
I think she would like Dark more.
Okay.
I think you could get her to watch Dark with you versus trying to get her to watch Outsider. I don't think you're going to get her to watch Outsider.
Debate her.
I feel like Outsiders is not as compelling. Of. At least by the end of that first episode, I had no reason. I think I said this last week. I had no reason to click the second episode. I was just like, I like Bateman.
Yeah.
I like that he directed this.
Yeah.
But at the end, I was like, I don't feel like there wasn't enough supernatural. There wasn't enough detective linkage. Like, why am I going to click another episode when I was like the way that first episode ends with like the guy in the other cell being like, "Hey, kitty rapist," or whatever he was saying. Hey. We're gonna fuck you up. Yeah. We're gonna do something really bad to you, and that's how the episode ends. I was like,
okay.
The way that the dark ends, the first episode ends with you see the kid who has disappeared, the one that when you show up in the world who has disappeared, and you see him tied to some sort of chair, and you see somebody in a hood putting clasping a metal visor around his eyes.
Oh, sounds like the OA. Oh.
So that was enough for me to be like, oh shit, okay, because the body that drops 2 minutes before you see this scene has its eyes burned off.
Oh,
like the cop who because he thinks it's his kid. It's his kid who disappears, and then they find the body, and he runs to it, and he's like, wait a minute, and he starts taking away the dirt or whatever, and he realizes he's like, that's not my kid. Cut to this scene where you seeing this kid put into this chair, and this blinders basically put on over his eyes. So it made me want to click the next episode more.
Oh, see, that's your problem. You click things. Mine just automatically plays.
Well, no, I mean,
so at the end of the HBO Outside, I just kind of fell asleep for a minute, woke up, and the second episode started.
You know I steal everything, and it's HBO. HBO doesn't have that. I mean, unless the app does. I don't know.
You stole my heart too, Rob.
I do that. That's my gift and my curse.
Speaking of stealing things or not, this is not a segue at all. Jumanji 2. I saw Jumanji 2 with my kids.
Right.
It's better than the first Jumanji. And by the first Jumanji, the first rock Jumanji.
Okay, because they've had one after that.
Yes. And they've had Jumanji with Robin Williams.
Right.
They've had Zathura, which is technically not a sequel, but it's literally the same idea.
Jumanji.
It's got Kristen Stewart in it.
Yeah, it's Jumanji in space. It's Space Jumanji.
Yeah. It's got some other guy in it. I can't remember.
I mean, the only person that of note from that is Dax Shepard, who's married to old girl from
Dax Shepard. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Just
from The Good Place.
Good Place. There you go.
Kirsten Bell.
Okay,
that's who he's married to, and what's her face? Who was Pattinson's love interest?
Kristen Stewart.
That's her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jumanji: The Next Level.
But they made a couple Jumanjis. They made.
Oh, they're gonna make a couple more.
I mean, based on the Robin Williams joints, right?
No,
there was
just the first
Jumanji, and then wasn't there a second one?
No,
there
was that thorough. That was it. Yeah.
Grandpa Eddie?
Anthony?
This is Martha and Bethany. This is Spencer's grandfather.
Nice to meet you.
Morning. Sorry to barge in on you.
You're not barging. He's barging.
Milo Walker.
Did you guys see Spencer?
I think he went back in. We gotta go get him.
Are you out of your mind? We haven't even picked our guys yet.
Oh, he's just hurt. All right.
You hear something?
Huh?
Spencer.
Huh?
What?
Who are you?
Oh my God. You're Spencer's grandfather.
Are we in Florida?
And you?
Milo Walker. Did I die and turn into some kind of a small, muscular Boy Scout?
Are we dead?
Bethany?
No!
Rich?
I'm the old fat dude.
This can't be happening!
My hip sure feels good now.
Look at my thighs.
Look at your thighs.
Look at my thighs.
Okay, we have some issues here. The game is busted.
It was a game. I'm not it. I don't want to be it. Welcome to Jumanji.
I mean, the great thing about the first Jumanji is it has a real sense of danger to it.
Yes.
Like, it really does feel freaky. Robin Williams comes back from Jumanji, and he's got, like, PTSD.
Yeah.
Like, he's, like,
because he's been trapped in the world for, 25 years?
Yeah. So it really does feel dangerous. These movies don't really feel that dangerous.
No, they feel like a video game.
And that's
where they take it.
Exactly.
They literally take the board game from the original, and somehow it's gotten an upgrade where, like, it's a cartridge now in like an old system or something?
They just sort of like put the other Jumanji properties on hold, and this is a brand new thing, and it's a video game based thing. The thing that I don't like about that, though, is that when they come into this world, you've seen the first one, right? So they come into this world, and they've got 3 lives.
Right.
And I guess that's how video games work. The problem is that like, and it's fun to watch them die, but for me the problem is that it just lowers the stakes so much that you're just kind of waiting for them to lose those first 2 lives, and then
because
once they do, then finally,
they won't lose.
Yeah, then we're finally in the end game here, and
Okay.
everybody's got their 1 life.
Okay.
But the sort of like intellectual hurdle that you have to jump through with this is that
Jack Black is back as a character,
right? But it's not the same girl that's playing him initially in the beginning. It's another person.
Well, all the guys from the original, the Rock Jumanji, come back for these movies because those are when they jump into the Jumanji world, those are the archetypes that they inhabit. Those are the archetypes that the people who jump into the Jumanji world inhabit, which are the archetypes of the Rock, this pretty white woman, Jack Black, and Kevin Hart's character.
Yeah. And so now when they come back to this Jumanji, they're in different bodies. So you get like the black guy who's named Fridge. He was originally Kevin Hart's body.
Right.
And at first he complained, but now he's in a different body. I won't spoil it for you. And like he's disappointed by all that.
Okay.
Oh, he's in the Jack Black body. I just couldn't remember for a
Okay.
second. I was thinking, whenever I said I'm not going to spoil it for you because I can't remember.
Okay,
So,
copy.
But so now he's in the Jack Black body. And he's like, what the fuck, man? This body's terrible. So he misses the Kevin Hart body. Meanwhile, Kevin Hart is Danny Glover.
Oh, Danny Glover, right.
And Kevin Hart's impersonation of Danny Glover
is impeccable.
Is awesome.
Yeah.
It's worth watching the movie just to
for
watch
that?
Kevin Hart do Danny Glover. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't care what he said about other people in the past and all that questionable stuff. He's redeemed himself now playing Danny Glover's character. And Danny Glover's great in it too, and so is Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito's fantastic. You get to see Aquafina be Danny DeVito.
Okay.
The Rock starts out as Danny DeVito, and he's not great at it, to be quite honest. But then it's fun, and it's better than that first movie.
Okay.
And it does a very weird thing where it tells the primary main story that it tells is about Danny Glover and Danny DeVito.
And how they used to be friends or something.
Yes,
and some
about these
fallout.
two 70-year-olds. So you're watching this movie with your kids, and the main story is about these two 70-year-olds that have retired. And it works. It's great.
That's great.
It's really good, and it's really fun. And I'm actually looking forward to the
next
third movie, I will go see
this will be the fourth movie. This is the third movie.
This is
the third movie.
Okay, yeah, but
so there's going to be a fourth.
The third Rock Jumanji.
This is the third Rock Jumanji.
Dude, you were so messed up right now.
This
one is literally called Jumanji: The Next Level, 2019 fantasy, blah blah blah.
There were 2 movies before this.
There were not.
There were.
There were not.
I
bet you a sandwich.
I will bet you a sandwich.
So let's look it up right now. We're gonna solve this right here. Jumanji franchise, right here. Boom. Jumanji 1981, Zathura 2002, Jumanji 1995. Wait, there's a book. Sorry, films 1995, Zathura, Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle 2017, Jumanji: The Next Level 2019. You owe me a sandwich.
All right.
But I see why you thought that, because this movie is so similar to the first movie in premise and style that it almost feels like there could be 10 of these movies. And the truth is there could.
I was almost positive there was a second one in between these.
These are so much fun because it's fun to watch Kevin Hart do a Danny Glover impersonation.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch Jack Black do a skinny white girl impression.
Right.
It's fun to watch him get back into that character at one point and be like, "Oh my god, I'm so happy to be back in this body, you guys." It's just it was just fun. It was fun to sit there with my kids and do it. Next time you're going to come with me.
Honestly, all these movies, all of them, all the Jumanji movies have been fun to me.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed all of them. Even the one that you didn't like with The Rock, the initial one where like they bridged the gap between the board game and the video world.
Yeah,
I bought it.
It was fine. It was okay. It's not that I didn't like it. It was okay. It wasn't as good as the first Jumanji.
Not at all.
But now that the second one is building off of that first movie,
then you're okay.
It makes it better, because you have these kind of continual characters, and you get to. I don't know. It's just you have to mentally follow it in a way that you didn't in the first one. Exactly.
Right. Okay. No, you're all right for sure. You got anything else? I've got a couple more things.
I don't know what I did this week, so I think that's probably about it.
I'm gonna save the trailer that I watched this week to last because I think we both enjoyed that. But I'm gonna talk a little bit about My Hero Academia.
Okay.
It's an anime that I've gotten into recently, and it's not even that old, but it draws on a lot of the same kind of like tropes and style that Dragon Ball kind of plays off of. And basically the premise is, in this particular world, humanity has evolved that everybody has a superpower. Ooh. So, like, one of the things that, like, you do is that you train to become a superhero. Mm-hmm. Like you go to high, like it'd be like if our world, everybody had a superpower, and so, like, the thing to do was to become a superhero at the end of it. Mm-hmm. And the main lead in this is a kid who, in this world, was born without one. He's one of the few people on the planet, because it still happens that people are born without superpowers. He's one of the few people that does it. Yeah.
Whoa.
And so...
That would blow.
Right. And so, but he idolizes the most...
takes privilege to a whole different level.
So this particular character, he idolizes the greatest superhero on the planet. And as you come to find out over the course of watching the show, is that this superhero, his superpower is the ability to pass on a superpower. Because, like, he was one of the people who didn't have a superpower, and he got his power from another person who was like, here's this power, I'm gifting it to you. And only a certain... it's a mantle that's passed, and so this kid who doesn't have a superpower,
he can pass that power on to another person.
Yes, he can, but he has to master it first, and he hasn't. And so you're watching this kid kind of go through the paces of trying to master a power that he wasn't supposed to have,
right?
But now he does, and kind of what he does with it.
Or maybe he was supposed to have it, because that maybe his powers that he can.
It's called My Hero Academia because he's in school,
right?
So, like,
he's at Hogwarts.
Basically, it's like the Hogwarts for
he's at Sky High.
Not that shitty Tim Allen one, but yes.
Wait, is it Tim Allen or is it?
Sure Tim Allen.
Wait,
Sky High, right?
No, it's what's his face, Kurt Russell.
Oh yeah, it is Kurt Russell.
Yeah,
it is
Tim Allen. Tim Allen is called Cocaine High.
He did a version of it,
and
like that,
it takes about 6 years in jail to watch.
And it takes about 30 minutes to do because you're on that coke. All right, you're gonna learn all this right now. So anyway,
it's good 8-ball. Lasts us all weekend.
The premise of it is really great. The action sequences of it are really great. I managed to burn through 3 seasons of it. And
4 total, right?
I think it's starting the 4th.
Yeah. Okay.
And it subsequently had a video game release, not akin to like a Street Fighter, where like
a fighting game,
a fighting game based on these characters. The animation is great. The story is great. It's compelling to watch in the way that Dragon Ball was, but without like the giant hiatus. Like, you know how like a Dragon Ball battle would take 3 weeks to complete. They get to the quick of it really quickly, and it's turning over. It's becoming one of the more potent, I think, weekly, because I think they're still writing the manga in Japan. It's becoming one of the more potent anime properties for Americans to sort of gorge themselves on.
Okay.
So if you're not watching My Hero Academia, I would say start.
How are you watching this?
I'm using gogoanime.net, either .net or .com.
Okay.
One of those two. But GoGo Anime is sort of my go-to source for anything anime viewership. And the last thing that I have on my list, other than the
right,
because I'm not even gonna.
Let's talk for a minute. Let's talk a minute about Avenue 5. We have a few minutes.
Let's just jump into it.
It's no good. Like it? Let's move on.
Wait, you don't want to talk about it?
No, I'm kidding. No, it's okay. It's got a weird tone to it. Avenue 5, HBO is what we're talking about.
I almost didn't watch it. I only watched it on the recommendation of Pablo. Pablo, this was you.
Thanks, Pablo.
And I didn't hate it.
I don't hate it.
But I wasn't sure if I liked it either.
I keep watching it, but it's like...
I think
it's burdened by a brilliant premise that it doesn't quite live up to.
Yes. And I think it suffers because it's only... Well, one, it's HBO, and it's only 30 minutes long.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's like supposed to replace Silicon Valley. Did you watch...
No, I didn't watch any of Silicon Valley, so I have no frame of reference.
You should just watch Silicon Valley. It's so much better.
I feel like Silicon Valley has garnered some viewership, and not only some awards. I feel like
Silicon Valley was one of my favorite shows of the last 2 years. For a comedy of that half an hour sort of
It was a comedy, but wasn't it based in like actual...
not really.
So it wasn't. No. It wasn't like this is the sort of the trajectory of what happened with these people who, from this era making that show.
You don't need any of that because I didn't pick up on any of that.
That's the one with T.J. Miller, right?
Yes. And I just took it as, and basically T.J. Miller, I think after the 3rd season, like freaks out and like, not his character, like the actual T.J. Miller freaks out and like quits the show. So they just write him off. I think like he like they're I'm too good for the show, or maybe they don't need me.
You know, he had like brain
really
trauma, right?
He had what?
He had brain trauma, right?
Oh, fuck, now I feel bad. Did he really?
Yeah.
Brain trauma doing
Dude,
what?
You know that series I was really into for a little bit. This Is Not Happening.
Yes.
He talks about it in what like he has one of those This Is Not Happening episodes, and he talks about like all the shit that transpired in him like leaving the show, and basically like he had like it was like something traumatic with his brain. Like he had like other.
God, I gotta erase a lot of Facebook posts about him.
So anyway, like I started watching it.
Miller.
And
what's he got, a brain trauma? What's wrong with this guy?
I was actually really surprised to see Hugh Laurie.
Yeah,
as sort of the title character.
But they kind of neuter his character is the problem. He starts out as a captain of the show of Avenue 5, the HBO show that we're talking about. And then I think at the end of the first episode, you find out that he's not actually the captain.
Not actually the captain, yeah.
He's just like this this mouthpiece that they put in there.
Right.
It just left me with a weird feeling of like,
I felt like I wasn't sure if they were trying to be like The Office or like a standalone kind of like conventional comedy, because there were elements of it that felt very kind of like now you look at the camera and you do some face, and then there were aspects of it that were like, oh no, this is actually trying to be kind of like in the vein of what's the one with your boy Seth MacFarlane.
Oh, the Orville.
The Orville.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was like...
Well, I think that's why they did that. So the premise is, real quickly, that there's a luxury liner. Just think cruise, Carnival cruise in space, going around different places. And they're trying to get to one end destination. Something happens, and they realize that the 3 months it was going to take them is now going to take like 3 years to get to this place. So now everyone on this cruise ship is stuck with each other for 3 years. And it's revealed at the end of the first episode that the captain is not actually a captain. He's just a really smooth-talking dude that's there to kind of appease the customers.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, there's a trillionaire mogul dude who's the actual guy in charge, and then his assistant. Who's kind of Jack Black. The actor is like so Jack Black. I'm like,
that's Josh Gad. That's the dude who did the gay. Remember when they did Beauty and the Beast?
Right.
And Gaston had a
I didn't realize that, but now
that's who he is.
Maybe I'll like
him. And him and Kevin Hart have done movies together. Like,
who's shorter?
I think Kevin is.
Who's shorter, me or Kevin?
I think Kevin is.
All right.
So you're winning. You beat somebody.
Yeah.
You beat somebody. But yeah,
it's okay.
It's okay, but
it should be better.
It should be better by its premise. I only didn't say I was into it because I wanted it to be better based on like a lot of things. Like it's obvious that they've poured money into it. Like the scene where everybody's like thrown against the side of the ship. That took a lot of money to do. But then it doesn't
could get
really
better. It could be one of those things that's like a slow start, then all of a sudden it gets really good.
I really want it to be, but I feel like with its subject matter, it's probably not good. Actually, the best moments of that show were the married couple or the couple who were in space who were trying to get divorced.
Right.
Who basically she's like, I'm gonna go. He's like, this is what you're into, and he's like trying to like pull up on her phone, like he's showing the picture of the guy she's fucking and his dick. Like the couple who's trying to get divorced, but they're in space because they were like, we're just gonna take this trip. It's only gonna be 3 months, and we won't have to be together. And now they're finding out that they're together for 3 years.
It's pretty much me and Laurel after we had kids. Like, fuck, now we're together forever. Shit, that was dumb.
It definitely made me laugh, and I definitely thought of you. And
what's the very last thing you got here?
The last thing that I was really into was the Aaron Hernandez documentary.
Yes,
I don't know what it was called. I think it was like The Mind of some shit.
The Mind of a Killer.
No one has allegedly murdered 2 people and then played an entire season as a professional athlete.
I can't wait to be free.
I'm Aaron Hernandez from Bristol, Connecticut. I play at Bristol Central High School.
Aaron Hernandez was a different level of athlete.
He was kind.
He wasn't someone who picked on other kids.
He's one of the best players in America. Get him the ball.
The Patriots reward him with a $40 million contract.
Aaron Hernandez was a ticking time bomb. The why is the story here.
He was out to prove something. Like a tough guy all the time.
He had a second residence.
The flop house. He had trouble with drugs, with guns.
Aaron was absolutely operating on the edge.
New England Patriot Aaron Hernandez was arrested this morning at his residence.
Aaron was accused of murdering Odin Lloyd, his future brother-in-law.
How can an individual who has everything get involved in something like this?
I was the happiest little kid in the world, and you fucked me up.
I ain't living with that.
You did. I had nobody. What do you think I was gonna do? Become a perfect angel?
This is on Netflix.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. What's fascinating to me is I didn't know all this stuff about this actual dude, and I don't know if that was because he was a New England Patriot, and I fucking hate the Pats.
Yeah.
So I was like,
of course he's a New
fuck
England
anything
Patriot.
of those. Yeah, fuck anything that has to do with these motherfuckers. But it was it was fascinating because, well, one, the dude that what this guy was doing and who he was and all that, but also on the on how they kind of shit on weed a lot in this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they make it seem like this guy was this way because he smoked a lot of weed.
I mean, in all fairness, the only time I ever killed anybody, I was high as hell. So
yeah, but what were you high on? It wasn't marijuana because you ain't killing nobody on weed.
Oh, I was.
There was no
totally
weed that you could smoke and be like, I'm gonna go murder somebody. Like, well, like if I was
no, not somebody. I murdered a bag of Doritos.
Okay, well then, I mean that they're not gonna. You don't get.
Oh right, I see.
Prosecuted for that.
Real murder.
Like because I murder food all the time.
Somebody should prosecute me when I'm.
I mean, if you're gonna prosecute a motherfucker for murdering food, then I'm Jack the goddamn Ripper.
Guilty of being a fat ass, Mr. Lawrence Dial.
Guilty of being a fat ass, but with the metabolism of a 12-year-old. Bye out.
So okay.
So I'm always gonna look this good.
So
I'm always gonna look this good.
They try to blame weed for his.
Well,
come on.
I mean, that's what it felt like to me. It felt like every time that they were kind of like giving Aaron the business, it was like, well, he spent the day smoking weed, and weed gets a really kind of bad rap in this. I feel like. But what you don't
more weed.
What's fascinating is that I didn't know so much of the detail of this man. I didn't know that he was bisexual.
Okay.
I didn't know that he had all this like trauma in his life. Like he is basically the poster child for like the stereotypical like you know, like in an 80s movie how like a footballer like becomes like the jock footballer becomes a jock footballer. His life is basically a streamline of that.
Yeah.
Like super assertive dad that he looked up to, who was a man's man. So like that, like
so toxic masculinity
from the top,
yeah.
And then he loses him.
That's the gateway drug.
And then he loses him like at like the most influential part, like as he's like becoming a man. So like there's all these steps on the road to like the psychosis. That I mean, it's the only way I can describe it is psychosis because. Once he dies, his family donates his brain to be studied for CTE.
Wait, Aaron Hernandez has died?
You didn't know that? He fucking killed himself.
I didn't know that. I have no idea what this story is. I
Holy
know that there was like some
shit.
murder and stuff that
Bro,
happened. But
it is so insane. This 27-year-old who would basically he had made his bones in football in this way that like he was going to be set for life. And before the Patriots gave him a $40 million contract extension, he murdered 2 people and then played a whole season. Was raising a family. So, like, we were talking about good fathers and, like, you can be, like, all these different things.
Right. So he's got a complicated legacy, as we say.
I mean, complicated is not even the begin to. So he kills himself in prison because why he does it, because in Massachusetts, there's this law on the books that, like, if you die while in, like, custody, while there's an appeal going or whatever, like, you're basically found not guilty. Like,
okay. So he thought they were going to bring him back to life?
No. He thought that him being found not guilty would make the Patriots pay the $40 million that they had promised him before he had been indicted for fucking murder.
Oh, and that would go to his family. Wow.
It's fucking
conflicting things here.
There is
family man trying to get money for his family, also murders a bunch of people.
This is one of these things where I was like, well, when I saw who it was about, I was like, well, fuck that motherfucker.
Yeah.
He's
that's exactly what I did. I was like, I know that guy's murdered some people. I don't want to see this shit. This sounds interesting. Okay.
Watch it. It's brilliant because what you come to find, like, I mean, I played football. I loved football. I'm not gonna say I could have been this guy, but like if I'd still been playing football for tens and tens of years, like and all that to say, so basically, this is part of the reason why I don't watch the NFL nowadays. I for someone who grew up really wanting to play in the NFL and sort of admiring that tone, I don't watch football nowadays, and this is kind of this guy's story is kind of part and parcel for why I don't. And you come to find out, after he died, his family decided to donate his brain to be studied for CTE.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not somebody put it in the finding what CTE stands for, but like it's a disease that you can get from multiple head traumas.
Okay. Holy shit, yeah.
So when his family donated his brain, they figure out that like they do a cross section, and there's literally a giant hole in this guy's brain in the portions of his brain that take care of decision making and like all the shit that like you can attribute his behavior to over the course of like, why would somebody who has all this decide to just go out and murder two people for no reason that had nothing to do with them, kind of thing? And they pull out like the scan of his brain, and bro, there is literally like a fucking tennis ball size hole in the portion of this motherfucker's brain where all that shit is supposed to be. And he's 27 years old. He basically has the brain of an 80-year-old at 20-fucking-7.
In the body of a 27-year-old
In the body of a 27
NFL player.
NFL player. So like you
this is why I don't mess with anybody, because you don't know who's got a hole in their brain,
bro. It's insane.
I don't even make eye contact sometimes with most people.
And I just finished reading this article about like they just completed like one of the most comprehensive studies of CTE brains on record, and out of the almost like 300 brains that they analyzed, there's only one brain that didn't have any of the traumas of that.
Wow.
And in my mind, it had to be either a kicker or a punter.
Yeah.
That motherfucker wasn't on no line taking snap after fucking snap.
That's what I wish I would have done, is got into the punter, the kicker.
I was a punter.
Yeah.
I played punter and defensive end, and I loved football. I loved it.
Yeah.
But like watching the NFL actively try to
deny all this,
shirk responsibility for their gladiators, because what the NFL is, that's the fucking Coliseum. That is the modern Roman Coliseum, and for the NFL to not take care of their gladiators is fucking egregious, and I'm not going to do it. They're not going to get my money for that patronage.
Yeah.
And so...
Gladiators were taken care of.
Gladiators were taken care of.
They had the best training.
They had the best training,
the best food.
Everything.
Everything.
Everything. And for the NFL to not do that to their own, I can't do it. Right. I won't do it. And it's really kind of sad. It's really sad because this dude is literally the poster child for all kind of trauma. And then you see his brain after the fact, and you're like, yeah, that's a motherfucker who would go out on a Tuesday night in Boston and get a drink spilled on him and then decide, oh, I need to murder these people at a stoplight.
So that's what he did, jumped out of his car and just shot them?
Not jumped out, rolled up on them, blah, 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 drove off. Nobody could figure out what the fuck happened with this case. It was a cold case. They were like, we don't have a motive. How did this, cut to, he murders the boyfriend of his wife's sister.
So third person.
3 bodies. Third body dropped, and that's how they get him for the other 2, because they start to like dig in, and they find like the car. He didn't even get rid of the car. The car that he'd murdered these motherfuckers in, he parks in his cousin's garage.
Oh Jesus!
So when the shit starts falling out, like the cold case, like the cops go to the cousin's house, they find this vehicle, they're like, oh shit, this is connected to this cold case from where. But this can't be right. He's an NFL.
This guy just got another.
Why would he?
This is a Camry. You can replace this.
It's a RAV4. Nobody wants that.
Come on,
bro. Well, it's fascinating because I didn't realize the implications that went into sort of going. Like, it goes to say like legacy. Like you can't just like toss a motherfucker away, because I was ready to toss him the fuck away.
Yeah.
And then like kind of going through his story, I'm like,
there's a lot more to it.
This is literally the inevitability of an outcome for a motherfucker like this. Super sad.
Super sad.
Yeah.
That's what we're into. Super sad shit.
Oh, well, not this, like I want to leave on a good note.
Oh,
and I think we both watched that Guns Akimbo.
Oh, Guns Akimbo. Daniel
Radcliffe trailer.
It looks great.
I'm into it.
So the premise is,
I'm Miles, and this is the story of the worst day of my life.
Another schism.
Schism picked random psychos, weirdos, and criminals and made them fight each other to the death. So the internet loved it. And then I came into the picture.
You scared yet? Welcome to Schism.
They bolted these things to my hands.
They have my girlfriend.
And some psycho is trying to kill me.
I'm not a fighter. I'm a nobody. Hey, I need help.
Oh, it's one thing to say you can't face violence, but when it faces you, you better be ready. When the shit goes down, you better be ready. You better be ready.
Right, yeah.
I mean, I feel like I'm more into it because it's Harry Potter. Yes. I feel like that's what I'm really into. I'm like,
so Harry Potter. Basically, he grows up. He leaves Hogwarts, right?
He goes. He lives in the Muggle world now.
Yeah, he's in the Muggle world. Where is it? London?
It felt like New York.
Yeah. Or okay, let's say maybe New York.
I don't know. I don't know where it is.
Yeah, maybe distance himself from London because that's too close to Hogwarts. So he goes to America. He gives up his wands, and then one day he wakes up and guns have been bolted to his hands.
Bolted to his fucking hands.
And it's this kind of like Running Man style game where some psychotic person has put a whole bunch of people somehow against each other.
So the premise is like crazy people, like there's an organization who have pitted crazy people against each other. So like psychotic people are killing each other for the viewership on the internet.
Yes.
And Daniel Radcliffe's character somehow gets tossed into this world.
He can't pick up his wand because he's got guns in his hand.
So basically he gets the door kicked into his face, and then he gets drugged. And when he wakes up, he has like 9mm guns bolted to his fucking hands, and that's
can't drop him, can't put him down. That's the premise of the movie.
Go see the trailer. I think most people will be into this.
Yeah, I think so.
What it feels like to me, and because we were talked a little bit about it on the podcast before, is it feels like a much better version of the Ryan Reynolds
free guy
trope that's coming out.
We don't know. That movie could be amazing.
It could be awesome.
Could be brilliant.
I'm more in tune. I want to see this one more than I want to see the Ryan Reynolds free guy.
Yeah, me too. So. Immediately after seeing both those trailers.
Yeah. Like,
but chances are we'll probably watch both.
Yeah, for this podcast, I think we might have to. Sucks. That's the job, man. I'm sorry we got to do it. Sorry. It sucks. Just a little loving early in the morning. Comments.
So we got an email from our intern, Tim.
Oh, nice. Who's he barbecuing, and what did I say that's out of pocket?
So he says, hey, gents, I went and saw Bad Boys for Life last week and thought I would pass along a review.
Please.
The short review, 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10. Okay.
How many out of 10 did you give it?
I gave it a 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. Same story, same characters, diet version action, an uninspiring continuation pandering to the hopeful fans of the series. Watch the trailers and wait to see it after it is out in the theaters. That was his short review.
Okay.
He has a long review. I'll start midway here, just to keep it here. I want to give him a break like Lawrence, but Keanu is still putting out banger action movies, so he won't get it. I just wish that he would go back to making winners. He must be talking about Will Smith. Yeah. E.g. Pursuit of Happiness, Independence Day, I Am Legend. Instead of his recent trash to prop up his son, that Earth movie, or whatever Gemini Man was supposed to be.
Okay, fair.
As expected with seemingly every movie and series these days, they opened a door to continue the series with or without the infamous duo. There was a semi-intriguing plot twist that loops the whole series together, which gave the movie some allure event after a disappointing postmortem.
I agree with a third of that.
Yeah.
I agree with a third of that. Tim, I see your point. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I still think it's going to crush.
He has a semi-related broad general movie commentary. I like entertainment, he says. This is about the almighty dollar. I really wish movie makers would just put a bow on things and let them be done these days. Star Wars, Saw, Frozen, Fast and Furious genre doesn't matter. They keep making them whether we need them or not.
Right.
I totally agree with
He's
that.
right.
But as the almighty dollar reigns, or daughter in my case, daughters, plural, we continue to go and they continue to make them. So I only have myself to blame. And that's true. I mean, we
are partially responsible for this level of fuckery that we now...
We get the movies we deserve. If we go see sequels, we'll get sequels.
Yeah, he's not wrong. And I agree with him to a certain extent. I feel like the action sequences were very much light or limited based on like the previous two iterations of the franchise. But I feel like at this point we don't need that sort of these are old dudes.
Yeah.
Like to have them sort of like doing this kind of like outlandish, over the top kind of action shit. While I agree with him in sort of like it being like a lesser version of these previous movies, it also felt very appropriate because
they're old.
Motherfuckers are old.
Yeah.
They don't need to be like flipping and seeing like that kind of level of fuckery.
Did you feel like the action is consistent in style and tone to the first two movies? I feel like I agree with Tim. I feel like it was lesser. I feel like the first two movies you get some of the best sort of like action sequences, like that whole like trailer, the thing where they're tracing in the second one where they're following the Rastas down the freeway and there's the giant car carrier and they're cutting fucking cars off of it and you're seeing like cars flip down the freeway and things like that. Michael Bay shit, yeah.
That Michael Bay shit.
Yeah.
It's clearly lacking from this one, but I didn't miss it. Who misses Michael Bay? I mean, I didn't miss that sort of like completely over the top, outlandish action that these kind of movies were known for.
Yeah.
It felt very, like I said, like in my initial review, it felt kind of like the appropriate end all for like this group of motherfuckers to be doing it. But I agree with him that they do leave it kind of like shit house open for like sequels in a way that I'm like, stop.
Right. Last comment real quick from my mom because we got to go.
Yeah.
She says, "Hi, sweeties. I've been meaning to suggest this for a while, and in light of the Grammys..."
Oh, we doing Aliens, by the way? Mom wanted to do Aliens.
We can do that next week.
Okay.
Because we probably won't be able to get to Birds of Prey. So we'll do Aliens next week.
Okay, bet.
Let's watch Aliens.
Mom, we're doing Aliens next week.
Aliens next week, Mom. How do the Academy Awards get voted on? Who gets to vote? When do they vote, etc.? Now, just keep the comment. Do they watch the movie in a theater with everyone else? Nope. Or does it get mailed to them? Yes. I always wanted to know how this is done. Might be a good to cover it on What We Into.
Actually, she's got it. Like I feel like
they're behind the times, actually, in a lot of ways.
With the people that we know about this, I feel like we should ask these questions and then get back. Cause
okay.
We both know Mills. We both know Rami. I feel like they would have insight into this in a way that neither you and I have.
Right.
Mom, we're gonna get to the bottom of this.
Yeah. Short answer is they get them mailed in DVD quality,
and not always. They don't always view them. Some of them
they don't always view them. Yeah, so they end up voting on movies they haven't seen
before. Yeah.
This has been What We Into. I'm your host Lawrence Dial,
and I'm your boy Rob Karma Robinson. See you next week.
I'm too tired to do all the other stuff.
Well, I mean,
there's stuff in the comments.
There's Patreon. Look, hit us up on the usual spots. You've heard us say it for 51 weeks now. It's usually toss us a buck on Patreon. It's gonna be at the bottom of this filler here. LawrenceDial.com at some point, I think, is one of the things you say. And
you're so good at this.
I'm trying. And you can hit us up on all the normal spots. You got us on the Spotify. You got us on the iTunes. You know, we don't do the YouTube as readily as we used to, but
no, they're still up there. They all go up there.
But see, we still out there popping. So there's a number of ways to get at us. We want to shout to all the people who listen. Is Spalding, England still holding down for us?
Spalding.
Shout to Spalding, England. Easy, brethren. No. Shout to Moscow. That wasn't my voice. That was our interns.
Right.
But yo, hit us up. Peace.
Later, haters.
I swear to God, I'll kill you. Fucking kidding.